we're surrounded by a lot of despair everywhere. And I can't help but think about what you were talking about earlier when you said, there's the spiritual heart conversations.
Yeah.
And then they, if they're here, like you on one end of the spectrum, and then slowly you track over to just all ego on the other end of the spectrum, right? And ego being just, people are just talking about ideas and rules and points with just fire behind them.
Yeah.
I've been feeling this thing where it's like, look, it's a really tricky place that, that I think Muslims, especially like, let's say Muslims in America, are in, because everything is so political and everything is really, even you were talking about the thing with Dave and like the, what people say about him when he'll, say stuff about LGBT communities, and, that's all like because everyone's in pain. Right. So even with something with the show, it's like everyone's in a lot of pain. So it's like everyone has their agenda of what they think medicine should be. And so when you look at it that way too, for me, I always have way more empathy for anyone who's critical of something that I said, because I'm like, well, this person's looking for medicine, and I don't have the one that they need, that they're looking for. But it really makes me feel like, I just wish that there was more in our communities publicly, just the bat signal of just love, and the bat signal of we love you. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what, we can get into like logistics and lifestyle and rules and all that later. But like, if you come to the mosque, we love you.
Yeah.
I don't need, you know what I mean? I don't need to like kick you out before you've even walked in, because there's certain discrepancy. People's just basic needs are so not met that I kind of feel like we're continually in this conversation where we're like talking about like what rims a car should have, and you open up the hood and there's not even an engine in it. And everyone's like, but the rims need to look like this, and it's got to have snow tires, and it's like, guys, the engine's missing. It's been missing for like decades. Can we work on that part? Can we connect the love part and then circle back around to talk about all the other stuff?
And that, what you're describing, it has been my experience with the Muslims. My experience was that loving. But I'm saying this is like a hole in the wall mosque that other people don't come and visit. You know what I mean? It's like all a very specific community from a very specific experience. You know what I mean?
But there's also a lot
I knew they didn't like that. Imam Marthi Muhammad. Like the last time I saw him, we were in Chicago at a Iman event. And I got up and did my thing, and like Malcolm X's daughter introduced me, and like I did this whole thing, and my music was full of cursing and stuff like that. And Imam Muhammad was like, it's so good to see you. And he met my wife. We had just, and he told my wife, he's like, you got a good man here, but you already know that. That's the day that my wife decided to become Muslim.
Wow.
He was like, you got a good man. You already know that. And somebody introduced me to him and was like, this is one of our acclaimed rappers. And he goes, him? That ain't no rapper. That's my boy. That's my boy. And he like hugged me, and he was like, man, I love you. I'm so happy to see you, and all of this stuff. And he was like, I love your rap, like how older people say, like your rap. I love your rap, but I don't love all the words you're saying in your rap. He's like, it feels like you're talking about beautiful things, but you're talking about it with ugly words. And he's like, and you just don't have to do it that way. And I gave him my explanation, and he goes, okay, well, when you're in your Islamic character and when you're not, and you know it better than me. And I was just like, oh man, I kind of just wanted to argue with you.
You're like, wait, I was waiting to debate.
You know what I mean? But so this is what I'm saying. My experience is always like, we love you. There's nothing you can do about it.
But look, just to say something though, in terms of like the you're talking a lot about being surrounded by the convert experience. Converts get a level of unconditional love that people born into the religion don't get in the same way, because our thing from the beginning is, you hit the jackpot. You've had the faith from the beginning. You should know better. I don't care how old you are. You should know better. Like it's always built in. It's like, you're lucky. People don't have the faith. They don't have this. I think when converts are approached, it's kind of like, there is a wider unconditional.
Well, I'm talking
swap.
about other American. I'm talking about like in the American convert community. I've always been loved.
Yes.
To be honest, so my thing is like when I'm with people that come from traditionally Islamic lands, whatever,
Right.
you know, immigrants.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I feel fetishized and tokenized.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't feel loved.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody is like, especially this person will just be talking to me, and then somebody else will be like, he's famous.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, hey, like suddenly they're interested.
Of course.
And they give me this like fake VIP treatment.
Of course.
Where they're like, you're gonna sit in the good chair, and you're gonna sit at the head table, and da da da. But then it's like when it comes to like what I'm actually feeling or whatever.
Yes. No, and I know so many people who've converted, and they're like, I do it, and then I can't find community, and it's hard, know, and that's really real.
Yeah.
And I think the piece that I'm trying to hone in on, maybe poorly, but is like, okay, I'll tell you this. When I was a kid, I remember I used to wish that I actually really loved the faith, especially prayer. And I was like, okay, this is a big part of my life. But I know it just feels so much more sincere than anything. And at the same time, I wish that I had just been born white. I was like, oh, I wish I was like William or Michael for a stint, where I could just do like William Michael stuff, and then like become Muslim, and then be like, oh, that's back when I was, right. Now I'm Abdul Rahman, now,
and
now
they will make you the sheikh, by the way. They will make you the.
It's like now I have an Arab name, and now I have, because I was like, oh, you just had this like carte blanche, and you got to do Christmas, and you got to try bacon, and do all this, and then now you just get to like turn all that off, you turn that all off, and then now you're just like now you're with everyone, and I remember being like, oh man, that's a sweet deal. Anytime I'd see it, like just a convert deal, I'd be like, oh dude, you got
the best of both worlds,
bro. You got to be William. I know you're saying you're Hamza, but man, you killed it. You got that clean on-off switch.
Yeah.
And then when you grow up with it, it's
you touched all kind of boobs, and nobody was mad.
No one said anything. You didn't know better. But then you're like sitting there, like,
and it's all washed away at the day of your shahada,
bro.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I've known better since I was, 6.
Damn it.
Man, this is a big weight.
Why do I gotta know better?
The pain of knowing, and so, there's so much shame, that comes with that.